Alright guys, I just wanted to show you my awesome deck that I have been working on for quite a bit of time. I'm waiting for a lot of the cards to come into the mail, but this is essentially my Punk Zombie World Eldlich deck, and the entire point of this deck is essentially to lock your opponents out from being able to play the entire game. So realistically, the best starters of this entire deck are actually Emergency Teleport to get you into Noah Punk Zay Amin, which will give you full combo immediately. Just having this in hand will give you full combo to get the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity, which essentially is a forced turn skip for your opponent, and they can really have no response, which means you essentially have 2 turns to do whatever you want. The rest of the monsters in this are essentially to either set that up, or in case you don't draw into it or there's a disruption, you have the ability to continue to play, and you just have to change some minor things. So let's get into the combo, and then after I will break down the deck and everything that I essentially put in and why. Alright guys, and we are facing the Moki bot deck on Dueling Nexus. I know a lot of people prefer Yui-gi-Oh Pro, but I prefer just this because I can kind of read the cards a little bit better. This is essentially just like the test you test against the deck, and this is all off of a non. The deck is shuffled. Okay, we have combo. So activate emergency teleport. Get you out here. Activate your effect. Add Foxy Tune to hand. And then you're going to activate Foxy Tune to special summon. And I will send Mizuki to the grave. And then once we get Mizuki to the grave, we're going to get Deer Note. Together, we're going to sync 8 to get the Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. Activate his effect, Chainlink 1 to him, and then Chainlink 2 to this. And then you want to get Foxy Tune out, because this will set up your Baron de Fleur play. Yeah, I'll add the dark. And there are all of my zombie worlds, and that's a shit top deck. Okay. Now I will summon you. And then I will choose to send a... I'll increase your level. I will choose to send a Gozuki. No. I will use your effect to get you there. I will activate you to get another Mizuki into the grave. I will now do my Halki Fibrax play. I'm not going to activate either one of you. Just gotta activate your effect to get the Plague Spreader Zombie onto our side of the field. And then I will special summon Baron de Fleur using Deer Note. And then what we can do right now is activate the effect of Plague Spreader, top decking you, get you right there, and that's full lock right here. So you could definitely do like win more strategy right here, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the Golden Land, Cursed Eldland, because I don't need to worry about anything. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just simply pass turn. They're going to draw Omega Axe burn the floor's effect, and normally IRL, before they even summon a monster, what I would do is I would just essentially say, okay, on your main phase, I would activate his effect, get Jet Synchron out. Do not actually use Jet Synchron's effect for the draw because you will miss the timing for this. And now activate to get Red Hot Dragon Archfiend. You will miss the timing if you use Formula Synchron's draw effect. So you, and you, gone. Summon. And now the only thing that they can do is set cards. That's it. They can only set cards. There is no way for them to work around this. So that's game. That's GG. Because as soon as we get to it, they have to end. They have no abilities whatsoever to go against us. Now, if you really want to put power into this, that's when you throw this guy out and this guy out. There you go. You now have 10,000 points of damage on board. Activate, clear that. If they have any back row, you would just get rid of the back row. And you have Barone de Fleur at all times being a negate for this to happen. And then just battle phase, GG. And that's the end of the duel. Alright, now let's get into the deck itself. I have everything separated into the packages for everything that I use for this deck. And yes, Red Dragon, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend is like the main want to win condition for this deck. However, I have had people disrupt and make it enough disruptions to where I couldn't necessarily fully make it. So this deck is also able to work through a lot of things. It does give you a ton of resources. The main reason I want, the main zombie package is 3 copies of Zombie World. It stops a lot. It goes against Flunderies really well. It goes against anything that really, Therion running around, it kind of does help against that. 3 Necrobanshee. So we have 6 copies of Zombie World. 2 of the Uni Zombie. That's our main, normal summon, even though I really like to get him out of the graveyard and use his effects so I have more stuff on board. 1 singular Gozuki. The effect of being able to special summon from hand is just an extender. So is Mizuki. Mizuki is another great extender. You can get a lot of locks off just by having this and this in your hand. Because if you get the Uni-Zombie in hand and you have Mizuki, you essentially have the full ability to go into most of the shenanigan plays that don't involve Red Hot Archfiend. 1 singular copy of Chang-Chi. This is really used, in my opinion, as a lot of synchro plays. It's able to get things into the graveyard. It's able to really completely continue to extend all of your game. We have 1 Doom King Balderok. It's a negate. It's a banish, non-targeting banish, and it reoccurs, which is phenomenal. 1 Glow Up Bloom. I don't use this nearly as much as I thought I would, but it helps you get Chang-Chi out, which then if you use Chang-Chi's effect, you get Balderok into the grave. So now you have 2 kind of beat sticks out. Plague Spreader is like one of the most integral things in the entire deck. And I am so happy that this card is starting to get the love again that it once got. Back in 2013, 2014, when I was playing before, this was one of the most loved tuners, especially in the zombie plays. And then 1 Mad Mauler, or Mad Murderer, I believe that was the name of it. This is just helping for reoccurrence and helping do a lot of your synchro plays, especially into your red zombie dragon lord, which will help with a lot of the scythe locks. And then just a very, very small Eldlich play package. 1 Eldlich, that's all you need. 2 Curse Eldlins, 3 Scarlet Sanguines, 3 Conks, and 1 Hikaru. The great thing about this is when you throw any of these things into the grave, you essentially get just free cards. to use for whatever. And Eldlich is also, I use him heavily as part of either being a banish fodder for the Chaos ruler, or for removal, or just trying to get another thing on board. He is an extender in of himself, because if you pop him to hand, you can always summon another Uni-Zombie. If you're trying to do the full play with getting the Red Hot Dragon Archfiend out, and you need to get the Uni-Zombie out, you can always just play Zombie World, pop Zombie World with him, and then summon a Uni-Zombie, a Gozuki, or something like that, where it just continues to play. This is a form of removal, but again, it's one of those things where I rather kind of throw these into the graveyard to get more cards generated. This deck does eat up a lot of cards. In a standard game that lasts like 3-4 turns, I probably end up with like a 15 card deck at the end of the turns, at the end of the game. 3, Zombie Reborn. This is great for getting stuff onto the field, and it's also used as getting everything out of the banish pile. And then the main starters for this deck right here. I have this package a little bit backwards, but the No Punk Zay Amen and Emergency Teleport, you have 6 copies of this, and that's what you need. You want this in your hand, or you want this in your hand. And then you have the Ogre Dance, which is also, essentially you have 7 copies of Zayaman, which is absolute full combo. So out of this, you have such a high chance of getting one of these in your opening hands. And then the rest for the entire thing is Deer Note and Foxy Tune. You need these 2. It's great. These are less valuable in hand. You don't really want to see these in hand as much as you want to see this. And then we have 1 instant fusion, and then we have 3 ready fusion. The only thing that we're going for with these is we're going for the Alvin, the Essence of Vanity. Such a good card because it is a tuner, it is a non-effect monster, and it helps you go into a lot of your plays, like getting Hulk, getting this dude on the field, Dagda. It helps you get everything on the field that you could really want, and it helps you a lot with your synchro plays. I go with 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, and the great thing about Ghost Ogre is it does activate from field, so you can use your emergency teleports to essentially quickly remove something. Now we go into 2 of the dangers. We go to Danger Tsuchinoko, which it just helps with draw power, helps getting another body on the field, and same thing with Danger Jackalope. Helps get things on the field. And now for like the main hand traps that I really do tend to go with, I know that Ghost Ogre is a hand trap, but I don't necessarily use her directly for that. I want Ghost Ogre mainly as either fodder for the Red Hot Dragon Archfiend, or as another tuner for getting like Hulk out or something like that. I go with 3 Ash Blossoms. It goes against virtually every single deck in the format, and it has since it's come out. And then I believe that this is one of the most underrated, but one of the best hand traps ever. Ghost Mourner, it negates and also puts damage on board. So if you're in the OT, like the overtime stuff, or you're at time, this can actually make it so that you can kind of win the game. Either so that it stops them from continuing to play, or if you only have like 30-40 seconds left, you throw that out. Or, you know, a little bit over 30-40 seconds left, like if you have like a minute and a half, you throw that out. If they choose to get rid of it, or if you have a way of getting rid of their monster, you immediately put damage onto their board. And then Ghost Spell, I like Ghost Spell. I used to have a love-hate relationship with this and putting it just in side decks, but it's the perfect counter to Called by the Grave. And I can't tell you how many times that having this in hand to counter Called by has saved my ass. And now 2 Effect Veilers. Again, this is just because it's the tuner, and it's also light, so when I do go and mill off either the 5 cards for this, or I mill off the 4 cards for this, I have the chance of having a light and a dark into my grave. And then Foolish Burial. It's Foolish Burial. It helps you get so much going in this deck because you really want to get as many resources into the grave, especially if you can get like Eldlich into the grave, if you need removals or if you need, that extra summon. Called by, it's Called by the Grave. It saves your butt with hand traps, especially with this deck. The ability to interrupt interruptions is great, especially like getting Doom King out. All of these, the main hand trap of the game right here is zombie. Right here is a zombie, and here is a zombie. So I have the ability to essentially have his abilities triggered off of these activations. And then, because I'm a jerk, Scythe. It took me a bit of time to understand the, use of the Scythe, Crestron, Hulky Firebrax, Dagda, and TG Wonder Magician lock. But now I understand it, it's phenomenal because you can essentially permanently loop Scythe if you have a Zombie World on the field and you have a Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord on the field. And so now let's get into the extra deck. The extra deck is pretty basic for this kind of deck. It's pretty basic in general for a zombie-focused deck. A zombie synchro deck, as you can tell. Avian, the Essence of Vanity. This is just the instant and ready fusion target. There's no other reason this in the deck. I mean, it's a level 2 tuner, and if I were to put Super Polys, at least this would be a nice target for, I believe, Sword Soul and a bunch of other decks that rely, like the Adventure Engine and stuff like that. One of the main win conditions of this deck, the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity, Baron de Fleur as our main negate, Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord, helps us essentially permanently Scythe lock, Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, fills our graveyard. Shooting Riser Dragon fills our graveyard, gets us whatever we need if we really need to get something into the grave. Immortal Dragon, this just helps us, again, get resources into the grave, as well as it can bring bring things out of the banish and the graveyard. TG Wonder Magician is integral to the Scythe lock. It is essentially Wish.com version of the DPE, but a lot easier to get out. Now we have Formula Synchron. That is the other integral part of our Red Hot Dragon Archfiend. The Vampire Zombie, or the Zombie Vampire, is something to help fill our graves. And you can, if you have the ability to steal your opponent's cards, then guess what? You are able to use it. But I really don't necessarily use it for that particular situation. I need this if I need to make stuff in the grave happen, or if I need to get more things to the grave. This is what I go for. Vampire Sucker, it's a draw, especially if you get Doom King into the grave or something like that. It's an immediate draw. Also, if you really need to, you can actually activate it and get a draw real quick if you needed to. This is Artifact Dagda. This is solely to get Scythe on the field, because as soon as you activate Crestron Hulky Firebrax's effect, you activate this effect as Chain Link 2. You get this onto the field, TG Wonder Magician, and it creates all the shenanigans. It also is very integral into the Red Hot Dragon Archfiend. I am slightly disappointed that this is limited at 1, because I would have loved to have 2 just in case. And then just the Link Rebo is just one of those things that if I need to get rid of the Glow Up Bloom, it's getting rid of the Glow Up Bloom. Now let's get into the side deck. Now side deck, I just added a little bit more hand traps and just back row hate and some going second. So my 2 Nibiru's, I only own 2, therefore I only put 2 in. 2 Droll and Lockbirds, and then for our back row hate is one Harpy's Feather Duster. I am actually going to be getting 2 more Cosmic Cyclones, so this will be 3 Cosmic Cyclones and 1 singular Twin Twister. And now it is 3 Dark Ruler No More for our going second play, because if we win the die roll for the first game and we get the Red Hot Dragon, they're not going to want us to go first ever again. And then an evenly matched. That's it. This deck creates such a lockdown, and I can out-resource you, and I can generally get to absolutely everything I need. I have only had 1 brick in the entire time I've been playing this game. I've probably played about 30-40 matches with this so far. I really do want to bring this onto Dueling Book, but I really don't like Dueling Book's interface when people activate stuff from hand. So, and I also don't like the chat feature too much on Dueling Book, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro is pretty nice when I'm playing one-on-one. Alright guys, that is it from me. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how you like the deck, how I should fix it, and what you hate about the deck. Peace.